And we're recording. Good evening. Welcome to another Wondrous Wednesday. I'm Jerry Sr. with Jerry Jr.
Good morning
Good
or
morning
good
and
evening.
good evening.
Yes, right. My bad.
That's all right. I know you're used to doing it on Saturday morning. So,
Yeah,
like you
and
said, we're trying to do more content, more videos throughout the week. So we're starting with Wednesdays, and so we call this Wondrous Wednesday. And actually, Wondrous Wednesday is kind of a hint at one of our characters we'll be introducing sometime next year. So,
well, don't
um,
spoil it now.
yeah, I'm not going to spoil it, but that's why
You already did.
I didn't, because you don't know who it's going to be or what the character is going to be. So, you'll, but
Fair enough. Fair enough.
yeah, so, but anyway, we're here talking about Transformers 1. And right now, it was released in theaters earlier this year, and didn't do great
Yeah.
in
So I'm just gonna
theaters.
say this right now. Whoever was part of the marketing crew
They
needs to be
suck.
fired
Yeah, I agree.
because
Yeah,
they just they stifled literally the greatest. Spoiler alert: this is the best
yeah,
Transformers
and
movie
and fair
of
warning,
all
yeah,
time.
there's going to be spoilers. We're not going to hold back.
No.
So if you don't want spoilers, don't listen, don't watch, because we're going to just spill all the tea and tell you tell you everything. So, but yeah, it's on streaming right now, available on Amazon
Yeah.
for rental or purchase, and I'm not sure if it's available anywhere else, but I know it's on Amazon. So if you have Amazon, go check it out. But yeah, you want to go first?
Okay, yeah. So this is the best Transformers movie I've ever seen. It's there's literally everything that came before it. With the exception of the 1984 movie, pales in comparison. Like it's
Yeah, yeah,
Transformers One, Bumblebee, and then everything else.
yeah. And actually, I wouldn't even include the whole Bumblebee movie. Just the opening scene of Bumblebee.
Well, here's the thing: the whole
In my
movie,
opinion, my
the
assessment.
entire movie wasn't bad. Like it was
No,
literally
it's not a
it's
terrible
it's
movie.
only the it's only setback was that is like you said, the first 5 minutes of the movie is war on Cybertron, and then the rest of the movie is Herbie. So
Yeah,
I get it, but
yeah.
it was a good Herbie. It wasn't like nothing about it felt like bad or like it was well told. Like I don't have any issues with it really as a
Yeah,
standalone
it's
movie.
like Bumblebee is an okay movie. I didn't care for it personally. I love the opening scene though because they were on Cybertron and they were
Oh yeah, that was the best part.
yeah,
That
that's
was
the
literally the best
absolute
part.
best part of that movie, hands down.
Like I'm not
And
gonna deny that.
yeah, and so you get those same kind of vibes with Transformers One. It's like all on Cybertron. There's no humans, there's no Earthlings,
No,
there's no Earth. None of that's in the picture yet. This is purely an origin story between Optimus Prime and Megatron.
which
And
is this is great. It's fantastic.
yeah, it's very dare I say Shakespearean in nature. It's really really good. The dynamic between Optimus Prime and Megatron, and before there his name was what, Pax, right?
Orion
Orion
Pax, Orion
Pax,
Pax,
and
which is in the
Megatron is
original.
D16 or D16,
So
and they're basically two robots on Cybertron. They have no spark, right? They have no cog, and the mythos is to be a transformer, to be able to transform, you have to have this special cog in your system that allows you to do it. So they were born without it, right?
yeah,
So it's a class system. So that obviously, the Transformers, right? The Autobots and what? There's no Autobots or Decepticons yet. It's just Transformers,
right.
and they're in the upper echelon of society. They're living above ground, or at least in Icon City. And then you have the miners, right? And the miners are basically all the robots who don't transform. And there's levels, right? Like they refer to like at least 50 levels,
Yeah,
right? Going underground.
yeah. There's tears. Yeah,
Yeah, there's tiers. So, they're minors, so that's kind of maybe mid tier, right? And they're in Orion Pax and D16. They meet as minors and they become buddies. It's kind of like the honeymooners type of, like they're pals, they're buddy old pals, and and it's kind of interesting. It's kind of this role reversal where Orion Pax, i.e., aka Optimus Prime, he's more of the guy that's kind of gung ho and he takes chances and risks and he's restless and because he wants answers. He wants because the overall premise is uh Primus, which is the first transformer, right? Who's a cyborg.
Yeah. So yeah.
He transforms into Cybertron and he brings forth the first Transformers, which are primes, right? They're all
Right.
primes. And there's this, matrix of leadership, and they use that, and that's like sort of the core, right? And it brings forth Energon, and the planet thrives and all that kind of stuff. And at some point, there's this great war that occurs between the Transformers and this mysterious alien entity, right? And the primes are betrayed and they're wiped out, and the matrix of leadership is lost. And because of that, the energon doesn't flow anymore, right? So they have to actually mine it out of the planet, like
Right.
physically dig, drill, all this stuff to mine raw energon and process it and all this, so it's very industrial, right? And so this is where we meet our two main protagonists, right? And adventures ensue because, like I said, Pax Orion gets in a lot of trouble. He's kind of kind of rebellious a little bit, right? The common theme is he breaks protocol, right? There's protocols in place, right? And he tends
Right.
to break protocols because he's trying to find answers
Right. So it's not for the
where
sake of, he's not
the
a
matrix
rebel
is.
without a cause per se.
Yeah,
The
yeah, he
fact that
has a
he
genuine, authentic purpose. He wants
yeah.
to find the matrix of leadership to bring back because he knows in his like within his self, right, his inner self, that he's meant for something bigger. They all are. That's how he sees things. Like and so it's D16, aka Megatron, who's actually the straight man, right? He's the one that's kind of like bringing him back down to earth and say, hey man, like stop breaking protocol and you keep getting us in trouble.
Yeah.
Like he's the voice of reason.
Well, it's not
you
even
know,
just that. It's you have the dichotomy of somebody who believes in the system, which is
yeah,
Megatron,
that's
and then
right.
you have
Yeah,
somebody who sees beyond the system, which is
right,
Optimus
right.
Prime,
That's exactly right. That's exactly
which plays in later in the movie.
yeah. He doesn't accept their station, right? He's like, if we can prove ourselves, like for example, at the beginning of the movie, there is a big race, right? That they have. It's like this annual, kind of like the Indy 500, right? Where all the Transformers come together and they race on this. It's a really cool scene, right? They race on this track and it kind of generates on its own, right? And takes them through all these weird. And so Orion Pax, aka Optimus Prime, decides, hey, let's go in this race and compete to show everyone that miners are more than just miners, right? That we can be more than, what they say we are. And one of the another common theme is, more than meets the eye, right? That's the Transformers tagline is from the beginning, right? And so he's like, let's prove to them that there's more than meets the eye, right? That we can be more than just miners, And of course, D16 is against it, right? He's like, you're crazy, we're not going to do it. But he kind of tricks him into doing it, right? It's pretty funny. And so they do this race, and of course they lose. They still lose. And just when they think they're going to get punished for it and demoted and all this stuff, um, Sentinel, which is their leader. He's the de facto leader, right? And at first, he doesn't come off as a dictator, right? He seems like this very sort of benevolent leader, and he's searching for the matrix of leadership, And so he doesn't punish them. At least he says he doesn't, but they end up getting booted down to like level 40 something, right? like, so clearly something's amiss, right? Because uh he tells them, "I'm going to reward you," but then they end up getting booted down to you very very even lower than where they were at first. Right? It's like garbage. Like they're just watching garbage or something.
Right. But in the process, they meet Bumblebee.
Yeah, they meet Bumblebee, and at first when I first saw the scene when they meet Bumblebee, I was almost disappointed. I was about to be kind of annoyed, right? Because
No,
I
they
thought, man, they made him crazy, right?
no
I
they
don't
they
want
did
Bumblebee
a
to be crazy, but yeah, it worked out well. Like
they
it
do a
wasn't.
good job of making Bumblebee the sidekick without making him too annoying.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
he wasn't annoying.
he is funny.
He was annoying in the right way. I'll put it that
Yeah,
way. Yeah, it because at first I was like, oh man, they made Bumblebee. He's finally speaking. He has his voice,
I know, right?
right? It's not some stupid radio nonsense. But then
No,
he's like,
he's just a dork, which is fine.
yeah, he's kind of a dork, and really they all are right. Like the scene where at the beginning when Optimus Prime escapes, he tries to
True.
steal some data from the archive. He gets
That's
caught,
true. Yeah.
and there's a chase, and he runs into D16 Megatron, and he kind of helps him escape, right? So they're on the train. I think this was a clip you can probably find on YouTube, but he gives him this sticker of his
Oh
idol
yeah,
or whatever.
Megatronius Prime. Yeah.
Megatron, yeah. So it's kind of
Which
like a
really
kind of
really
a
cool. I like how they tie that in later.
yeah, they do actually they tie it all in very well. And but it was kind of like a geeky moment, right? Because he's like,
Yeah.
oh man, that's all he gives him a little sticker, and he's like, yo, that's dope, right? So, they're kind of all like geeking out over the primes, right? And the mythos around the primes,
Right.
And so this particular prime was, he's D16's idol, right? He idolizes this guy, right? So, and that plays a part later in the movie. But anyway, so they meet Bumblebee, and it's like I said, he comes off as kind of kooky, right? Because
Yeah.
he's been down there a long time, right? By himself, basically, and he
Right.
builds his own friends, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And I was like, yo, they made Bumblebee crazy, man. I don't like that, but it was done very. It was funny. It was funny. It was,
Mm-hmm.
and who is it? Uh, Keegan Michael Key,
Yes.
right?
Keegan Michael Key. Yeah.
He,
Yeah.
yeah, he's the voice of Bumblebee,
Yeah. He does a good
and
job.
yeah, he does an excellent job.
Yeah.
He's
I like
he's a
it.
great voice actor. He was great in like Toy Story 4 and stuff. Like he's actually a really good voice actor,
I
and he
liked
did
him
a
better
great job.
here
Yeah,
in than in because in Toy Story 4 they just played Key and Peele but stuffed animals. But
yeah,
in
that's true.
here
Yeah,
he actually felt like he was Bumblebee.
yeah, he
You know what
really
I'm saying?
got the character down well,
Yeah.
right? Like you forgot that it was him, you know,
Yeah.
and that's I think credit to all the voice actors really,
Absolutely.
because Chris Hemsworth is Optimus
Yeah,
Prime.
he was a really good Optimus Prime.
Yeah, he was great. He didn't try to like mimic the OG Prime
No,
voice,
but he
but
got the
he
essence of it.
yeah, he definitely got the essence of it. He got the feel of it,
Yeah.
especially at the end in the third act.
Oh yeah,
He
absolutely.
definitely got it down pretty well. That leadership, that authoritative sound, right?
Yeah.
And then who is it? Scarlett Johansson plays
Oh,
um,
Alita.
Alita.
Alita
Yeah,
one. Yeah, Alita one.
yeah, Alita one. And then Optimus Prime. I always forget this guy's name. He was in the Eternals. Um, Man, he's kind of a new actor to me.
He was
Um,
also the dude in He was the podcaster in Godzilla X Kong.
yeah,
The
that's
black
right.
dude. The black
yeah,
dude. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I
That's.
didn't care for him in that particular role.
But he does a good job here.
Yeah, and this one, listen, let me tell you something. He did a bang up job as Megatron.
Oh yeah,
Like
this is my
it's
favorite Megatron.
yeah, like the voice, and it's not just his voice. Like his voice was great,
Yeah.
but the acting
Oh
was
yeah,
spectacular.
absolutely.
Like especially when later on, Bumblebee helps them get to the surface because they find a map where the matrix of leadership is, right? And so they get to the surface, and that's a whole adventure, right? They end up roping in Alita One as well, and when they finally find it, or at least they find out sort of where it is, what happened to it. Um, they find out Sentinel's a fraud, right? And it's kind of predictable. Like you kind of get a sense of that at the
I
beginning.
mean, if you've
It's not,
seen the other Transformers movies,
yeah,
you
it's not a
probably
huge twist where you're like, oh my god, Sentinel's evil. It's like, look, we've seen enough of these kind of movies where you can go like, yeah,
but that's
that
not the
guy's
core.
evil.
Yeah, but that
But
he's not the core of the story though.
no, it's not. He's not. He's really just a supporting character. But it's D16 Megatron who gives this like really awesome performance,
Yeah,
and it's like you really feel, we, especially as of late, um, there's been a lot of criticism of sympathetic villains, right?
yeah.
And I gotta say though, I didn't mind it here.
Well, here's the thing: it's not that he's sympathetic; it's the fact that because here's the thing: is just because you could sympathize with the villain doesn't mean that he's right, right?
Right,
Like,
that's exactly
because
right.
what happens is that people will try to use their sympathy to say, "Oh, their actions were justifiable," which is not
Yeah,
true,
yeah,
right? Nowhere in the movie do they justify Megatron's act. What ends up happening with Megatron in a later movie. Now I will say I've never felt so compelled to like root for Megatron than when he's
yeah.
standing in front of when he stands up to Sentinel. That was a baller
Listen,
moment.
yeah.
Like
That's what I'm saying. Like,
I was like, oh my
yeah,
god. He,
for the
when
record,
he
the actor is Brian Tyree Henry. That's his name. And
there we go.
like I said,
Or when he
probably outside of Chris Hemsworth, I mean, he gave a great performance.
oh yeah
But his performance as D16 slash Megatron was just phenomenal.
oh
Because
yeah
I honestly believe without it, the movie probably would have fell a little flat, right? Because you really felt his anger and his pain.
yeah
You know what I mean? Like you really did, and he delivered it so well. Especially the scene where he ends up killing Sentinel, right? And they find out he's not really a prime. That
right
and he stole the cog, right? The spark or the matrix or whatever from his idol,
yeah
right? Megatron is
yeah
prime,
that
right?
was
Which was
crazy
like the irony of that was like, yo, that's crazy, right?
yeah
And then this is the thing though, right? So Sentinel steals it from Megatron's Prime, right? And then in the third act, when they end up getting captured, Optimus Prime rescues them with Elita One, and it's all chaos, right? But they finally reveal the truth to Icon City, right? They catch him, they record him, and he kind of confesses it without realizing, Sentinel Prime.
yeah
But Megatron is fighting Sentinel Prime, and Optimus Prime is trying to stop him, and he fails, right? And Megatron ends up shooting Optimus Prime because he tries to save Sentinel from Megatron, right? Because he
right
doesn't want him to. He's like, don't cross that line, right? Don't be like Sentinel, where
yeah
he killed to get power, right? He
yeah
took justice in his own hands. He's trying to stop him. He's like, we won, right? And it's true, they won. They got the truth out. Everyone saw it for what it was, right?
yeah
But it wasn't enough, right? Because and they set it up nicely because in the second act, when they find out, and he's so pissed, right? He
yeah
tells him like, I don't just want to expose him. He's like, I want to kill him.
I would have killed him
I
yeah
want to I want to embarrass him and humiliate him and then end his life. Like he, so it's like that's what he
because
wanted to do,
yeah
and
he's
that's
not
what.
seeking justice he's
Yeah,
seeking
he's
revenge
not seeking justice. He's seeking vengeance.
and
One
that's
hundred
the
percent.
main difference between
Yeah,
Optimus Prime and
that's exactly
Megatron
right, and it plays out beautifully though. And he ends up killing Sentinel Prime after killing Optimus Prime, and he takes the core, the cog, out of his chest. It throws the one that was given to him away and puts it in,
yeah
and it's like, yo, he literally became the very thing that he hated,
yeah
like in real time. Like it's just the most poetic moment. And like I said, it's like none of this is like unpredictable, right? When you're watching it, but the execution of it was
yeah it's
so
awesome
well done.
yeah
That's really it. Like everyone wants to talk about like originality and things like that, right? And it's like, sometimes it's not about originality. Sometimes it's about execution. Like I remember
Yeah,
when I played football, eons ago, right when I was in high school, and one of the things my coach used to tell us is, shout out to Coach Rathke, right? Is he would tell us it's not about the play, it's about the execution. Because he was giving us a lot of these different plays. And somebody commented one day, when we were practicing, we were kind of frustrated because we had lost the game or whatever. And they were like, Coach, we need new plays, man. We need to do somewhere that, because they've seen these all before and it's predictable, blah, blah, blah. And he said it's not about the plays, it's about how you execute, right?
yeah,
And he proved it because the next game we did the same plays, but we focused in practice on execution, meaning being right on point, right on time, listening to the cadence, running it exactly as the book says, right? And guess what? Right? We won that game, right? You
right.
understand? It's like
Yeah,
it's because we executed. We did the plays correctly, right? And we did it excellently. We did it the best we knew how to do with full force, full momentum. And it's the same with anything, especially with storytelling.
yeah,
Like stories, we've you can say if especially if you've lived a long life, you can say I've heard it all, right? But it doesn't matter because it's about how the story's told. It's how it's executed.
right.
And this story, we've seen all these tropes before, right? We've seen it before. We've
Yeah,
read it, we've seen it, we've watched it. It's nothing new in that sense, right? But man, they executed this movie so beautifully. It was so well
yeah,
acted. It was the characters were believable. They were endearing. They were likable. They were relatable. Visually, it was beautiful. The animation was really nice. It's nothing like groundbreaking, right? Like there's nothing in there where
I don't know. I thought it was awesome
it
because
was.
like
It's great. It's beautiful. It's just there's
it
nothing
was.
about it where you're like, how did they do that? It's like, well, it's a 3D animated movie.
Well, I say that because the art direction was done in a way to where everything felt grounded. It still felt vibrant, right?
Yeah, I
Like
mean the
all the
colors.
Transformers were uniquely colored,
Yeah,
unlike in
it's
most other
it's
movies.
gorgeous. Yeah,
Yeah,
every Icon City looks spectacular. The Transformers look really awesome. I love how they distinguish the miners with the rest. With like they were smaller, right?
yeah,
And Transformers are bigger and taller. Like it was really well executed overall.
yeah,
And like I said, Brian Tyree Henry, excellent actor, great voice actor. Um, it's just wow, and overall, like the story is just it pulls you in, right, and it doesn't let you go to the end.
yeah.
And listen, let me tell you something. All right,
Oh my gosh.
the best part, okay, the best part, right, is Optimus Prime,
Oh, of course. Yeah,
and it's like, but it's supposed to be right.
yeah.
But if you look at past iterations,
No,
right,
I agree. Yeah,
I'm looking at you, Michael Bay,
I.
right?
Oh my
It's
gosh.
like it never really quite hits. The moment's never really quite there, right? It's very rare. Like there's probably a couple of scenes you could
Well,
pull out
there's
and
a
go,
lot of
you
things
know,
working against and I mentioned this before, right? Is that you can't have you can't have a optimistic Optimus Prime in a Michael Bay world because in a
yeah,
Michael Bay world, everybody's a terrible person.
yeah.
And on
Everyone's
top of that,
cynical, right? That's
yeah,
exactly right. Yeah,
and
yeah,
on top of that, it's like what's it called? It's like Optimus Prime himself isn't Optimus Prime like consistently. Like,
right,
because like
exactly. Yes,
even Peter Cullen admitted this that he was saying things that he knew
he
Optimus
just wouldn't
Prime would
say
never
it,
say.
right?
Right?
Especially
I'll
in the
kill you.
last one, in the Beast, the Rise of the Beast. That was,
Yeah,
yeah, that was. And the thing is, it had some decent moments, right? Like with Bumblebee be diving out of the plane and all that. But
yeah.
it's like it falls flat because we don't get moments like we got in Transformers
No.
One, when Optimus Prime is literally killed by Megatron. He's thrown over into this abyss. He
Oh yeah.
falls down this huge shaft into the core of the planet, right? And bam, ex machina, right?
So fun fact about that scene, and shout out to I forgot the specific YouTuber, but
Hmm.
I was watching a reaction by Spilt the Milk, and
Hmm.
one of the guys was a really big Transformers fan in that video, and he pointed out that the guy who worked on the score also worked on the score for Transformers Prime, the
Yeah,
animated series,
that's
which
right.
is a good show.
Yeah.
But so in that scene, they mix in the same musical motif that they used in the original Transformers movie when Optimus died
Right.
with the
That's
new Transformers Prime.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, it was awesome
That's
because I
very
was like, yeah, and if you notice in that scene, he gets discolored just like he did in the
yeah,
first
that's right. He
movie.
does. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's very yeah. It's very similar.
it's
And
like literally, it's the exact. What makes this movie great? I'm jumping the gun, but what makes this movie great is that unlike with a lot of superhero adaptations or adaptations of this nature, is they actively embrace the source material
they do. Yeah. I mean, listen,
and they
it's
take it
all there.
seriously. And
Listen,
they do,
Starscream.
oh yeah, oh the way. Okay, that's sort of point. I
Listen,
just went the way that Starscream loses the what they explain his voice is hilarious because it's
yeah, yeah,
literally Megatron beats the ever loving stuffing
that's right. Yeah,
out of Starscream,
that's right.
and
Yep.
he like
You
damages his
start to
voice with
hear that
vocal cords.
Starscream voice. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. It's crazy, man. It's like plus, he loses his leadership role.
right.
So
But it's like he's
it sets up future. It's like you're wondering why is he always gunning to take out
for,
Megatron? Like,
but
and
that's
it's
but
kind of
that
like
now you
that.
know why.
Yeah, that's where it comes from. Like he's always trying to get that leadership back,
But
right?
it's like Starscream said in the movie. His own philosophy is it's the strongest bot over everybody else, right?
Yep,
So
yep.
everybody acknowledges it, even Starscream.
That's
You know,
right. Yeah, exactly. They can he concedes, and at the end, it's like you see. And did you see the extra scene at the end?
I did, yeah.
Not Bumblebee, but the
No, where they rebrand themselves as
yeah,
Decepticons.
exactly. They become
That
Decepticons.
that was interesting
That
because
was awesome.
it was awesome, but it was like it recontextualizes like the name,
Yeah,
right?
it does. It does. It's very clever because you look at Gen 1 and it's clear, right? Okay, Autobots, they're cars. Decepticons, well, they're robots in disguise and they're bad.
And
Right? So
they're
it's
yeah,
like, so they're deceptive, right? But now the way they recontextualize it here, it's like, no, it's about not being deceived.
right,
It's about being anti-deception.
right.
So we're
In
con.
his mind, right?
In his mind, right? So we're Decepticons. We're anti. It's actually quite brilliant,
Yeah.
and it's like because that's what it was all about for Megatron was like I was deceived,
So the irony
right?
though is that what what was ultimately Megatron's downfall, and we see it at the beginning, is that he Optimus Prime was always, uh, I guess, what you want to call a free thinker, and Megatron was always a follower, right?
Right.
And but so he never understood what leadership was, right?
Yeah.
He
Yes.
but he only wanted leadership when he was angry. I'm not explaining it right, but I mean
No, that's
I'm not
exactly.
I'm not
He didn't want leadership. He wanted revenge. But
yeah,
his only way to get it was to basically say, "Look, follow me, and we're gonna get our revenge." That's
right.
because you saw that when they met up with the what were they called
Oh,
uh
the high guard.
yeah, the high
The
guard,
yeah.
and he's like doesn't care for Starscream. He's walking away. He's like, look,
Oh
I'm not
yeah.
gonna sit here and play with this fake leader and all this. It's like I'm gonna go get revenge now. Like I'm gonna make him pay
Yeah,
today.
yeah, yeah.
And that's what it was always about. It wasn't about leading, and he never necessarily wanted to be a leader, but he realized, look, you if it's about being the strongest, yeah, I'm down with that, right?
Yeah.
Follow me and let's go take this dude down. And that's what it's all about. It's just he's using them for his own means, his own ends, right?
And,
It's not about versus Optimus Prime is leading not because he wants it either, but because it necessitates it, right?
right, but so here's the thing. So that's another great thing about this movie is that we see different types of leadership in action throughout the movie. Right, you
Yeah,
have
that's right.
you
Yeah.
we have we're introduced to Alita One, who is the leader of the miners, but the thing is that she's only interested in maintaining a higher level of
Well, she,
status
yeah, she wants to maintain it
because
and
she
work her way up because she's like, I don't want to go backwards. And
yeah
she gets demoted at the beginning because of Optimus Prime. So
right, but
it's like
it's
you
like
see that play out. Yeah,
right, but we see that like it's like she's not really interested in leading out of example. She's just leading for her own personal gain. We see that with other characters, but we
right.
first
That's
see
right.
that with Alita because when push came to shove, right when there was the mining accident, it was Optimus Prime who went back to save Jazz, not
That's
Alita,
right.
the
Right. She
supposed leader.
because she said follow protocol.
Right.
It was about following. Why? Because it's just about following the rules, so I can get promoted and I can advance.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But then she comes full circle in
She does.
beginning of
She's
the third act when
yeah.
she basically inspires him to lead. Like she's like, look, you have something that I don't have that others don't have. Like you have optimism, you have hope, you know
Yeah.
how to inspire people.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's what we need right now. And that gets because Optimus Prime starts to doubt himself, right?
Yeah.
So that gets him going. It's like, okay, well, let's do it, right? And
Yeah. It's
yeah,
awesome.
it's like, and that's what's funny because it's a funny moment because she says, I'm better than you at everything, and it's kind of
She's that's
hilarious,
yeah.
because there's a lot of truth to that. It's like, yeah, she is kind of better, but then she's like, accept this, right? Being a leader, a true leader, and inspiring people to follow me, right? Like that's what I mean, because you see
Yeah.
it at the beginning when she's like they're flying into the cave and she's like,
Hmm.
what are we doing? Yes, ma'am, this is right. And
Yeah.
she's like, it's about me. And she just makes it about her, right? Like, who's the best? This like you are, right?
Yeah.
It's like just all about her just leading them so she can get
Right.
promoted. You know, it's like, and that's it. But with Optimus Prime, it's like, no, it's like there's more out there for us, for everyone, right?
Right.
Everyone wants to unify the planet. And so, yeah, and you see
Right.
that and
And
she
then
acknowledges that.
and that yeah, exactly. And not just Alita, but also obviously Sentinel Prime, right? He is a leader who once again he's self-serving, right? And to the point where it's like he like reshapes society to fit his own agenda, right?
Yeah,
We see all these self-serving leaders, but Optimus Prime is the only leader that we see who's in service of others, and that's what
that's
separates him,
exactly right. Yeah.
right? Because it's always because it wasn't just about when Megatron like when he when they get into the when they sneak into the race. And Megatron was like, "Oh, you did this for me," and he's like, "No, I did this for
For
us."
us. Yeah.
That's always about. It's
Yeah.
always about together. It's all
Yeah. That's right.
He was for unifying Cybertron, right?
Yeah.
He was
That's
always in
exactly right.
service
It
of
was
others.
always about others. It was never about himself.
Yeah, even when
Even
he
him.
got
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, no, you're right. Even when he got into trouble, it wasn't about
Yeah, I was going to say the
himself.
same
It
thing
was
at the
about
beginning.
others.
He breaks into the archive to find out about the makers of leadership, so that he can help everyone else. Like we can
Yeah,
all get out of here and not have to mind, and now we can do greater things, right? Like
yeah,
he wants it for everyone, and that's the thing. It's a beautiful depiction of both characters, and especially Prime. Probably the best, in my opinion, we've seen on the big screen so far.
yeah,
Like hands
absolutely.
down, this is the Optimus Prime we've all been wanting, and we got it in this movie like times a million. Like it's just, and like I said, that scene when the Primus gives them the matrix of leadership, bro. Listen,
Oh
if
man,
you want to get hype, you want to get goosebumps, watching it, watch that scene, man. Watch this movie because it's like watching it. It's because it's like even though you know it's coming, right? Because and this is the thing. I got to be honest. I'm watching this movie, right? They get to the cave, right? This is in like the second act, right? They get to the cave. They find who is it? Alpha Trion, right?
yeah.
Which is he's voiced by Lawrence Fishburne, by the way, which is awesome.
Oh, that's true.
Um,
Yeah,
and he gives them the truth, like yeah, they were ambushed and Sentinel betrayed them and all this stuff. And he finds out that the matrix of leadership disappeared. Right,
right,
Sentinel grabs it, but it just dissolves away. It's just gone.
right.
Because Primus, we figure out later Primus obviously took it away, right? Because And he says this, right? He says he didn't understand what it really was. He didn't understand the meaning, right?
Right.
And so he thought it was something to acquire, like just it's just a thing to have to give him power. And it's like it's not really about that, right? And so now it's kind of like, okay, and then the aliens, the enemy comes and all they gotta run. But it's like by the time we get to the big finale where Megatron basically becomes Megatron, right? He's fighting Sentinel. He's gonna kill him. I gotta admit, I kind of forgot about the basic leadership.
Ah,
Like like I could, what I mean. Like I wasn't thinking about. It. I was just going like, okay, what's gonna happen next? Like, oh
right.
man,
Right.
like, and then he kills Prime, and I'm like, yo. And then I realized as he was falling, like, oh, this is it.
Yep.
You know
Yep.
what I mean? Like it was great. And it's like I said, the execution is the key,
Right.
right?
Because he sacrificed himself for the greater good.
Yeah,
'Cause this
but
is the
but
thing.
none of that, but just the way that the events unfold,
No, I get
it
it. I'm just.
pulls you into the story so well.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
kind of
You're right.
like, oh yeah, this is probably when he gets the Matrix. Like
Right.
as he's falling, you realize what's coming, and
Right.
that's what
Right. Right.
makes
Right.
it
Right.
all the more powerful. Because, like I said, it's up to that point. It's like, oh yeah, I literally forgot all about it because I was so pulled in with the story of with Megatron and his
Right.
anger and him,
Right.
and it's like, oh yeah, there's this matrix of leadership.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? So it's like when he shoots Prime, I'm like, yo, okay, what's gonna happen now? Are they gonna save him? Is he gonna just fall at the bottom of this pit? And it's like, oh yeah. And
Yeah.
that's what made it for me, like made it all the more like, okay, this is amazing. Like this is a great epic movie. And when you hear Alpha Trion, he's like, "Arise, Optimus
Optimus
Prime!"
Prime.
Right? When he opens his
Yeah.
eyes, yo, man. I
Oh,
mean, listen, if you were in the theaters,
literal
you
goosebumps.
probably would have been cheering. I'm not even kidding, man. Like I
I
was cheering at
probably would have.
home. So
Yeah.
it's like that's what's so terrible about the fact that it didn't do very well because I can imagine, like, especially young people watching this, they're probably cheering in their seats, man, watching something like that. You know,
Yeah.
and this is the kind of movie you want to see, um, succeed. You want to see it. You want to enjoy it because it inspires, right?
Yeah.
It motivates. It inspires. It gives hope. Good triumphs over evil. It's just so well done and so well written and so well executed. It fires on all cylinders. So, um, yeah, if you haven't seen it, go see it. Uh, Rent it on Amazon. Buy the movie. Let's give it some traction so that hopefully
Yeah.
they'll go ahead and make a sequel. You know, because it deserves a whole
Absolutely.
trilogy. Because man, like this is what fans have been wanting all these years. This is Transformers One. Like,
Yeah.
period. This is the kind of stories we've been wanting, and they finally, out of how long? What, a couple of decades? you know, Finally we
It's
get.
it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's like, but yeah, this is it right here. And like I said, all the voice actors: Chris Hemsworth,
They
Scarlett
did an excellent
Johansson,
job. They were awesome.
Brian Tyree Henry, especially Brian Tyree Henry. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
man, yeah. And Keegan Michael Key was a great Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne, awesome. It's like,
Also, I just want to point out, just to drive home how well they embrace the source material. All of the I like that uh, the Alpha Trion turned into, I think, was it like a unicorn jaguar thing?
yeah, it was like
Yeah,
kind of
he was a
mystical creature.
well, he was a
Yeah,
beast. He was a, I don't know what they
that's right.
call him.
He
He
was
was
a
a,
beast. That's right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
So
Yeah.
it implies
So
that
there's a little bit of, yeah,
all
yeah.
the original primes were animals,
Well,
right? Like
maybe
like in Beast
we
Wars.
didn't really see the other primes transform.
We
So,
didn't, but I think
but
it
that's
served as
well,
like a nice hint.
I'll go on the limb to say maybe it was mixed. Like some were
It
beasts and
would
some
it would
were
make more
something
sense
else.
if they
Right?
were all. I mean, maybe, but it would
But
be a
yeah,
good
that's a good
metaphor.
point though. Yeah,
Yeah,
like there's definitely some foreshadowing though.
because here's the thing: it
Okay,
would be
'cause
a
that
good
did surprise
metaphor.
me. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I'm just saying it would be a good metaphor for like the Industrial Revolution, right? All the original primes were animals, and then technology advanced, so now everybody's caught. You know what I'm saying?
Especially because the matrix of leadership was lost.
Right.
So think that's a good point, right? It gets lost. Now they have to do what? They turn into this industrial society. They have to mine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty deep, bro. That's
I'm
good.
just saying.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, but yeah,
But
there's a lot of great subtext and all this. The fact that Prime is killed and then he's resurrected. I mean, kind of obvious metaphor, there for Christ and everything, the Savior,
yeah,
and the fact that the power is bestowed upon him literally by their God, which is Primus, right?
yeah.
He's basically the God of the Transformers, right? So
I mean, yeah.
it's yeah, it's listen, it's spectacular. It really is. I don't know. I can't say enough about it. I didn't expect to like it this much. Um, I wasn't sure I would like it at all, to be honest, because, like
Oh,
I
same
said,
here.
it didn't do very well. So you're thinking, yeah,
Well,
maybe
also
this
the
is even.
trailers were terrible. I
Yeah, they
can't stress
focus
this
too much
enough.
on, and that's a good point. They focused a lot on the comedy aspect, and there are a lot of funny moments, but it's not the whole
Right, but
movie.
that's yeah, exactly.
It's there, and it's actually great. The pacing of the movie is really solid. So the comedy happens right when it should happen, and then it goes away right when it should go away. Right,
Yeah,
you get a good, um, wide, broad tapestry of drama,
yeah.
action, and comedy. So yeah, but the trailer, you just thought, oh, is this some goofy kid movie? That's the impression, and so a lot of people do blame the marketing, like the trailer, and I can agree because I didn't really see much else outside of this trailer that we're playing here. This shows a lot of the action, So, but this probably came later
I mean,
on. Like,
it's the final trailer, so they showed all
yeah,
that
that's what
too
I'm saying.
late.
It came
It's too
later.
late.
Yeah, yeah. So it's I don't know, but it is all these things. It's breathtaking. It's epic. It's awesome. This scene right here is listen.
Oh yeah, I was
It's a beautiful scene. It really is. Like it's just I don't know.
actual
Like
goosebumps.
I think also part of it is I think a lot of people are kind of transformers out. Like there's been so many movies and and the movies in general haven't been great movies,
Well, I
right?
mean,
Let's be
that's the real
honest.
problem is that they haven't been great movies.
Yeah, they haven't
I
been
think
like
people would be willing to watch a new trailer. Because here's the thing: it's like there's not. We don't just have the Transformers movies. We have really good Transformers shows.
yeah,
Like
that's
Prime
true.
was really
But
good.
who's watching those shows, right? Mostly young, kids are watching it. They're and those shows aren't made for a broad, they're made for a younger audience. So who has to bring them to the movies? Well, the parents do. But if the parents, even if they're fans, if they're like, well, it looks like my kid's Saturday morning cartoon, uh, I'll wait for it to come out on stream. Like they're not
Yeah, yeah,
necessarily
yeah,
gonna
yeah, yeah.
rush out, especially because, like I said, the track record. I think looking back, hindsight is always 2020, right? And looking back at the Transformers franchise with Michael Bay, that was a huge mistake.
Yeah,
It really was. It did not move the needle, in my opinion, in making Transformers more epic or more endearing or more like right now, Transformers, the franchise, the IP, it should be on the same level as Star Wars or Harry Potter. Like it really should be. And I think because it hasn't been handled well, right? Because
yeah,
in my opinion, it wasn't taken seriously enough, like to say, hey, let's really write some compelling stories. Um, it falls flat. It's vapid, right? And so it doesn't resonate with people. So yeah, you get a ride here and there or something, some kind of, and you get something surrounding the movie franchise, some toys, and that's great. I don't think it's done as well as it probably could have had they handled it more like this movie.
yeah,
So, and I think that's why it's just not on that same level like it should be.
yeah. I agree. it's I really wish that it would have done better. I hope that it eventually gets re-released in theaters so that people can have a chance to actually enjoy it in the theater the
But
way it should.
say it again. You cut out on my end. Sorry.
Oh, my bad. I was saying I really hope that it gets re-released in theaters, kind of like how Godzilla was, so that people could
Oh
enjoy it
yeah.
the way it's supposed to be enjoyed.
You know what? And that's what I'm saying. If more people watch it on streaming, and they see the numbers, and it like, okay, yeah, it's it's there, then yeah, I think that's gonna happen. I really do. And that would be amazing. And hopefully, then it'll lead to a sequel, because this is what they should have led with over a decade ago, right? This is the movie they should have led with. Is Transformers One, because this is what fans have been wanting. It's what I think, just what general audiences would want. But I think we're just kind of petered out over the saturation of mediocre to outright bad Transformers movies. You know, and then the TV shows. They're here and there, right? I
Yeah,
don't think there's ever been like a terrible TV show. I think most of them have been decent. Um, in varying levels of good, and different iterations, right? And
I haven't seen them all, so I can't say.
yeah, I
I
haven't
grew
seen
up.
them all either. I've seen a few, and it's like, oh, this is fine. Like, but like I said, they tend to lean towards a younger, sort of elementary age audience, right? Versus trying to appeal more to the more general, broad audience, where yes, kids can enjoy it, but also older adults, and everything in between can as well, right? Similar to the Marvel universe, right? It's a full spectrum that can enjoy those movies, right? It's not just for kids, and it's not just for adults. And right now, Transformers One is sort of that perfect Transformers movie where it can appeal to everyone.
Yeah,
It's done so well, and written so well, and executed so well. I can enjoy it at 50 years old. You can enjoy it at 28, and young people can enjoy it. High schoolers, elementary, like everyone can watch this and enjoy it fully and completely. And and that's a beautiful thing. And I really hope they do more. So um, give it some support, give it some love, man, because it deserves it. Good movies deserve to be appreciated. And this is a great movie. So
yeah.
yeah, that's all I have. You got anything else you want to
Go watch the movie.
add? Yeah, go watch the
Watch
movie,
the movie.
please. Yeah, it's
Go see the best Optimus Prime. Go see the best Megatron. Go watch Badassatron.
oh
And
yeah, yeah.
and yeah,
That's a heresy. Yeah.
as somebody who didn't grow up with the original series, this makes me want to go back and watch the original series.
Yeah, listen, I did. First of all, I watched this 3 times. Okay. That's number one. Uh,
Oh gosh.
and two, yeah, I went back and I rewatched the Gen 1 Transformers movie. Um, because it was like, yo, like this makes me want to go back and rewatch it, and like kind of re experience it. And it was great. And it made me appreciate it even more, because it definitely struck a similar tone, right?
Yeah,
And that's what I'm saying. Like it just does it executes very well. So yeah, please go watch it. It's a great movie. It's definitely worth your time. And like I said, it's available on Amazon right now for rental and purchase. And I'm not sure if it's available anywhere else. So, probably on YouTube. I wouldn't be surprised if it's on YouTube also. So, but yeah, that's all we have for Wondrous Wednesday. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening. And we hope you have a beautiful evening.
we'll see you around.